and you were in my last class for at least a
Yeah,
little bit,
I was
correct?
just there for just a couple of minutes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, but otherwise, this is your first lesson with me. Is that right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, it's very nice to meet you. I am glad
Thank
you're
you.
here.
Thank you.
And Alexandra, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Fine, thank you. And you?
Good. I'm good. Thank you. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
Welcome to class. And Maria, hello. And Roa, welcome.
Hi, Stephanie.
Good to see you again.
Thanks, me too.
These articles are much shorter. We might even get to read 2 or 3. This class should be a little more fun, I hope.
Okay. And the previous lesson was also good, but we need to speak more, to talk more, and because it's important to make a conversation in this issue.
Yeah, yes. And I don't know what I was thinking when I read that article myself. It'll take 20 minutes and we'll have 40 minutes for discussion. And I didn't really realize how long it would take just to get to the article.
Yeah.
So I apologize, but that will get better the more I continue.
No problem. No problem.
And thank you. I really appreciate the feedback. So thank you.
Thanks.
All right. So today's class is called Satire and Parody in the USA. This kind of was an idea I had that kind of goes together with a current events class. So the last class I just taught, which Roa and I were talking about, was a current events in the United States. And we looked at an article, and the idea was to have a discussion based on the article. We didn't get to very much discussion, unfortunately. But this class is kind of a sister class to that one, where we will look at parody news articles and have a discussion both about the current event as well as why this article is humorous, what's humorous about it. Humor can be a challenging area of language because humor can be very specific to culture. Different cultures have different ideas of what is funny and what is not. So hopefully this will help you, whether or not you find the articles funny, hopefully it will help you get a better sense of what is funny in English, and in this case, specifically in American English. So are there any questions before we go to the website? All right, so I'm going to post the link. I think it was in the class descriptions, but I'll post it again here if you want to follow along on your own screen. I will screen share, and I think just to go along with my last class, we're going to start with a very short article about what has been happening in Ferguson in the United States. But before that, just a quick definition of satire and parody. Or does anyone know the meaning of satire and want to explain it for the group?
I know what it is, but I don't know how to explain it.
Yes, okay. It can be difficult. I've looked up the definition for this class so that I can hopefully explain it well. Here's the definition in the chat. So satire is the use of humor or irony or exaggeration to ridicule or to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices. So satire is using humor to make fun of someone for doing or saying or believing something stupid, often in the context of politics or other common current events. So the articles that we will read today are all considered satire. How about parody? Does anyone want to talk about parody, or does anyone have a definition they'd like to give of parody?
I think when you do something very similar to the thing that you are intending to do a parody, and you put a little humor to criticize it, maybe.
Very good, very good. Yep. So parody is, yes, imitation, a humorous or silly or mocking imitation of someone or something. In this case, the articles we read are parodies of American news articles. Oh, good. And Wellington is viewing, and he says in the chat he's reading Animal Farm. It's a good example, definitely a good example of satire. Yeah, the entire book is a really great example of satire of the government, of communism. Really good. Good. And there's the definition of parody in the chat. Maybe a little too wordy. I should have cut it down, but. So the articles are satire and parody. Are there any fans of The Daily Show? Does anyone watch The Daily Show or The Colbert Report on Comedy Central?
No, I don't.
No.
Those are both TV news shows that are parodies of real news shows. So just a couple more examples. But with that, let's go to The Onion. So the website is called The Onion. They've been around for a long time. And although they're fairly popular, there are many Americans who aren't aware that this is a joke or a parody news source. So it can be funny. I once shared a story on my Facebook, and my mother responded as if it was a serious news article. These are not serious news articles, and we'll talk about the elements of humor that we find in them. So if it's okay with everyone, I do want to start with this just to make a link between my last class and this class. Again, these articles are much shorter. They're mostly one paragraph each, so we'll be able to do several in a class. All right, so just a little background. This past week in the United States, there have been many protests over a controversial decision. Back in August, a police officer shot an unarmed teenager, and he died. And the courts this week decided that the officer was not at fault or not guilty of a crime. And so many people disagree with that. Any questions on the background before I read the article?
No, it's very clear.
Okay. So Ferguson decision reaffirms right of police to use deadly force when they feel sufficiently inclined. That's our title. Washington. Following a legal precedent established over the course of decades, the St. Louis County Grand Jury decision Monday to not indict Officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of an unarmed teen reportedly reaffirmed the right of police to use deadly force whenever they feel sufficiently inclined. The outcome of this grand jury investigation further supports a police officer's right to shoot to kill if, and only if, he feels absolutely willing to do so and it suits his purposes, said Georgetown law professor Adrian Hoffman, adding that reasonable suspicion to use lethal force is 100% optional when an officer fires on a suspect, regardless of circumstances. This decision makes it completely clear that, when confronted in the line of duty, police are legally justified in using extreme force against a suspect whenever they need to or just feel like it. Hoffman added that the decision further asserts an officer's right to claim self-defense against anyone within range of his weapon. Okay. So, oops, sorry about that. First, let's look at the vocabulary. Is there any difficult or new vocabulary that we should explain? All right. So then my question for you, and I do want there to be discussion to give you the opportunity to discuss things. It's hard to see, maybe. What is the humor here? What is funny about this, or satirical?
And you are saying that the police can shoot whenever they want, just because they want, and they are totally right to do that.
Yeah, good. Yeah, which I think that's definitely the article's main point. Other thoughts? What is funny about this article, or why is it satire? Yeah, I think John summed it up nicely. So this part in particular, whenever they need to, or just feel like it, of course, nobody actually agrees that police officers should be able to fire their guns whenever they feel like it. So that's kind of the over-the-top, that's the satire there. Oh, I had another question on this one. I just forgot. Oh, yes. What do you think? So this is making fun of something, of this event. What do you think the author's opinion, real opinion is, based on what he's making the satire on? What do you think his real opinion is on the grand jury decision?
Oh, he disagrees with the jury decision.
Agrees. Interesting. What's that? I'm sorry?
I said disagree.
Yes, disagree. Good. Yeah. I would say he disagrees with the decision, and that's why he is making fun of it. So a really good example of satire here. Kind of ridiculing or exposing or criticizing the grand jury's decision by making it look ridiculous. Good. Are there any other comments on this one before we move on to a different article? All right. Good. So I'd like to move on. Let's go to this one. I think will be pretty obvious. The humor in this one might be more obvious. So the headline is "Everyone in Family Compliments Grandmother on How Small and Feeble She's Gotten." Wheaton, Illinois. Uttering surprised exclamations and smiling in amazement at her wrinkled, wizened frame shortly after she arrived for the Thanksgiving holiday, every member of the Hostig family complimented their grandmother, Judith Hostig, on how small and feeble she has gotten, sources confirmed Wednesday. "Oh my goodness, you're so much more frail and withered than when I last saw you," said granddaughter Elise Hostig, adding that she could remember the days when the 83-year-old was still a vibrant, robust woman whose sallow skin didn't even sag off her body. "Gosh, it's like you shrank into the shriveled little person overnight. Before we know it, you'll be a tiny, hunched-over mound." Sources confirmed that family members then made the octogenarian stand back-to-back with her 7-year-old grandson for a comparison. All right. So I have a couple of questions, but before I ask you all, are there any questions on the vocabulary here or the language?
Yes, the last line, octogenarian.
Yeah. So that means a person in their 80s. The prefix octo means 8. So 8th generation or 80 years old. You can be an octogenarian. A septuagenarian would be someone in their 70s. Good.
And stand back to back.
Yes. So when you stand back to back with another person, your backs are touching. Usually you do this to compare heights of two children, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, got it. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. What was that?
So yeah, I got it. Thank
Oh,
you.
okay, good.
Okay, withered.
Yes, withered is when something shrinks and is dying. Leaves wither in the autumn before they fall from the trees.
Okay, and wizened, the last line, second line, sorry.
Yeah, wizened is like becoming older. I think it's related to like wizard or so older, whiter, like graying hair, aging. Say would be a good synonym. Good. Any other vocabulary items or questions?
No.
Okay.
Small and feeble. Sorry, small and feeble.
Oh yeah. So feeble is weak. If you're feeble, you can't lift things. Babies are feeble. Very ill people are feeble.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So my question for you is, what are they making fun of here? what is the satire mocking?
I don't know. This one is a little bit harder,
Oh,
but I think it's something about they are making compliments that they think about it in the real life, but it's not compliments. It's bad things.
good. Yes. Yes, that's a very important part of the satire, right? So, to be frail and withered is not a compliment, but they're saying it as if it is. Good. So that's a big piece of what they're satiring. I'll give maybe a little hint. My hint is, if this were a woman in her teens or 20s, late teens or 20s or even 30s, some of these might be compliments. So what are they making fun of? For example, it's often considered, if you're speaking to a woman, it's very nice to say how small they look or how thin they look. So it's a little bit of satire on body image, on especially for women, the ideal thing for a woman to do is to be small. It's taking that compliment and making it very extreme to demonstrate that it's kind of ridiculous to compliment people on smallness. But we often do it to women when we discuss their weight so openly. Good. Are there other comments on this? I know it's not sure how to get more discussion. All right. Let's go to another article then. We'll go back to the main page. If there is a, oops, that way. If there is one that catches your eye that you would like for us to read, that would be wonderful. Or maybe I could have you all do the reading for the next one. This one's recent, and I think it might be the humor might be more obvious in it, maybe. So let's look at this one. I apologize. Oh, I can't.
Try open a incognito tab.
Strange. I apologize. I didn't realize there was a limit. Okay, so I'm going to open a different browser. I don't know if that'll help, but will that help or not? I'm not very good at technology. If I open like Safari, will that allow me to access? Probably. Okay. Well, worth a try then. I apologize. My lessons aren't going too well today. But we'll try that. So I'm going to stop the screen share. And while I'm opening that, what do you think about satire in general as a form of humor? Is it a style of humor that you enjoy, or do you prefer a different style of humor?
I think it's good when it has a relation with the political issues,
Good.
because
Yeah, and
it's funny to look to these issues in another way.
good. Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to examine politics from different angles, and so satire can be one way to do that. How about other people? What do you think about satire? Do you enjoy it? Do you prefer other styles of humor?
Well, I like satire, but yeah, it's my favorite one, I think. Irony is one of the best ways to communicate, and satire use it a lot, so I like it.
Yeah, I think it can be fun. I enjoy many different forms of humor, but I do think satire is kind of a smart form of humor. I think it's also good for us to laugh at ourselves. So satire is one way to laugh at ourselves or take ourselves less seriously. All right, so I've got it pulled up in Safari. My computer is moving extremely slow, but let's try share, and we'll look at least one more here. Okay, so just to give you all some more opportunity to practice speaking, do I have a volunteer to read this article for us?
Okay, I'll read.
Excellent. Oops. Okay, there we go.
Okay, Thanksgiving affords nation rare opportunity to eat large amounts of food while watching football.
Excellent.
Okay.
And
Washington, noting that the nation's long wait is now at an end. Sources confirmed Thursday that the Thanksgiving holiday will grant millions of Americans the rare chance to eat incredibly large amounts of food while watching football games. This kind of day doesn't come around too often, so I am excited to finally be able to sit back with family and friends over some delicious food and watch football for the entire afternoon, said 34-year-old Arnold Dawson of Henrico, VA, echo, echoing a sentiment held by Americans across the country who have come to cheer the long day of the year when they can simply
gorge.
gorge themselves on enormous meals in front of a television showing 9 hours of uninterrupted NFL coverage. I mean, when else can you curl up in your living room with second or third helpings of food and watch at 12:30 p.m. game, a 4:30 p.m. game, and then an 8:30 p.m. game? Okay, it makes me wish Thanksgiving was every week. Reports also confirmed that by the end of the evening, the populace will already be exactly thinking ahead to New Year's Day, which will afford them an equally rare opportunity to shovel food into their mouths, watch a half dozen college football games, and eventually pass out on the couch.
Very good. um,
Thanks.
so I find this one particularly funny. Who would like to explain what is funny in this article, or what is it a satire of? Um, yeah.
Hello, Stephanie.
Hello, Mikhail. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good.
What is the mean the last word? Couch.
Couch. Oh,
Pass out is
yep, a sofa or a couch. So your furniture in the living room where you watch TV.
okay, okay, thank you. Yes, it's okay, okay.
Good,
Sorry.
good. No, of course, please. And please, anybody else, if there's any vocabulary, please ask. So, does anyone want to venture a guess? What is being made fun of here?
I think that okay.
Well, you can speak real after the try.
What?
Uh,
You can continue.
No. Continue. No, speak. No problem.
Okay. Well, I think the satire is about it's not a hard opportunity uh, to eat a large amounts of food while watching football. It's something maybe normal for Americans to do that. So
yes.
not
Good. Does anybody else want to comment on that?
Yes, I think the satire in this topic that he knows what every American will do in Thanksgiving or in the New Year's. All people will celebrate in the same way
Yes.
by watching TV and watching football
Yes,
and
definitely.
eat yes and eat an excessive amount of food. So all of them think in the same way.
Yes, so yeah, so it's saying that everybody will celebrate the same way.
Yeah.
Good, good. And Wellington, welcome.
Hi, I sleepy. No, not too good, but so I wake up late.
Oh no. Well, I'm glad you're joining us. Um,
Yeah, thank
were
you.
you able to listen to this article or read this
N-
article?
n- yeah, yeah, but not for now. I am I am preparing to this.
Okay, good. So as John said and as Roa said, it is making fun of Americans and what they do. And so, for example, gorge themselves. I think it's a typical stereotype of Americans that we eat a lot and that we are all very fat. And of course, stereotypes often are based, at least in part, in the truth. And so this is particularly funny because especially this line, cherish the lone day of the year when they can simply gorge themselves on enormous meals in front of a TV showing 9 hours of uninterrupted NFL coverage. It is tradition. Many people do this every single week during the football season. So from when does it even start? From August, I think, August through February or March. Many people spend all day on the couch watching football and eating terrible food. So a big part of the satire is that we can only do that on Thanksgiving, when really it's something Americans do on a weekly basis.
But this food is better than McDonald's.
Yeah, sometimes not though. I personally hate football, so I don't go to football parties, and of course we're talking American football. I enjoy soccer or real football much more, but American football, I don't go to many parties, but I have been to at least one Super Bowl party, and the food is as unhealthy as McDonald's. Melted cheese everywhere, and fat and barbecue and chips and junk food.
Okay.
All right. Any other comments on this one?
No.
This is a good example of satire being useful to make fun of yourself. At least for me, this provides me an opportunity to laugh at my people for some of our ridiculous traditions or habits. So let's do, you can do at least one more. I'll go back to the main page again. Are there any requests from what you see here?
The man at airport.
All right, let's do that one. Oh no.
Oops.
Oh no. I didn't realize they would be so limiting with their articles.
I can help you with that if you use Chrome.
Okay. Okay, so if I go back to Chrome, oh look, it seems to be working now. Okay. Well, let's go with this. It looks like it's working, but then we'll try again for the next one. All right, so why don't we have John, do you want to do the reading on this one?
Sure.
All right, wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. Man at airport said that other people had same idea to go home for Thanksgiving.
Excellent.
New York. Sighing and cursing under his breath upon seeing the long, winding security lines and packed concourse throughout LaGuardia Airport. 28-year-old Thomas Metcalf was reportedly pissed off Wednesday after realizing that other people had the same idea to go home for Thanksgiving. Jesus Christ, you have got to be kidding me, said the visible, aggravated Metcalf, expressing his frustration upon noticing that the crowds of travelers had not only chosen the exact same time to visit their families as he did, but also had the same ideas to each bring a single overstuffed carry-on and to mill around the gate area. Oh man, I bet my flight to Chicago is going to be completely full too. Just my luck. At press time, Metcalf took some relief in looking ahead to his return flight on Sunday, speculating that the whole mess would die down by then and he would be able to experience a relaxed, acid-free trip back.
Very good. Thank you very much for reading. So my question is, what is the satire here? What is being made fun of, and how? So he's not happy. What is he upset about?
As I understood that also all people think in the same way, because he said that all of them will travel in the same time
Yes.
to visit their families as he did. I think it has a relation with human being thought, because all of us think in the same way in celebrating a feast
Yeah. Yeah.
or our activities in weekend.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. And people, especially because in in the United States, Thanksgiving is always the fourth Thursday in November. So there's a reason um, why people are all in the airport at the same time and are all going home at the same time. So it's making fun of that. What else? What is being made fun of here?
Well, I think they are making fun of his complaints because he's totally selfish and, and he is only thinking in himself. So, and that is idiot. So it's funny.
Yes, well said. In a way, again, this is making fun of one of the characteristic traits of Americans, which is that we can be very selfish and think only of ourselves. So he is an example of a typical American thinking only of himself and not realizing that, of course, people are going to be traveling at this time of year.
Yes, another thing that also he said that American people had the same idea to each bring a single overstuffed carry-on and two meal around the gate area.
Yes. Which again, right, is typical. You should expect that when you're going to the airport. So it takes a real jerk to get upset about something you should expect.
Yes.
Yeah, so that one's funny. How about the last sentence here? What's funny there?
That he is hoping that the the returning flight will be less crowd, but it's totally not true.
Yeah.
Do the same thing.
Yeah, so it's going even further with the satire of how stupid this man is, that he figures, oh, well, by Sunday it'll be fine and I'll have a easy and uncrowded trip back. Which, of course, if Thanksgiving is on the Thursday, people typically have Thursday and Friday off work, and then it's the weekend. So they fly out Wednesday and they fly back Sunday in order to go back to work on Monday. So using one character to go over the top and make fun of this characteristic selfish American. Funny one. Ooh, are there any other comments on this one?
No.
Okay, let's try one more. I hope it just works for us here. Hopefully, I didn't want to go back because I think the more clicks I do, the more it might stop us. So let's just do this one to wrap up. And do I have someone who wants to read this, or I can read this one? How? Let's I'll just read this one unless somebody really wants to.
Okay, I'll read.
Okay, wonderful.
Okay, a nation doesn't know if it can take another bullshit speech about healing.
Very nice.
Okay, Washington in the wake of a grand jury's divisive decision not to charge Ferguson. Okay, Mo police officer Darren Wilson in the shooting death of an armed black teenager Michael Brown, a wary American populace told the reporters Tuesday that they aren't sure if they can take another bullshit speech about the healing. If I have to watch some politician, law enforcement official, or pretty much anyone
Regurgitate.
regurgitate the same meaningless platitudes about setting aside our differences and coming together as a nation. I might just lose it, said Atlanta resident Samantha Hubbard, echoing the sentiment of hundreds of millions of Americans who are uncertain if they can stomach uh, even even a single empty call for respect and civility. I honestly don't know if I am physically capable of listening to another community leader recite the same unbearable garbage about how it's time for an open and honest dialogue. I swear to God, if I hear even one God, God, I can't see it.
Oh, sorry.
Uh, Godman person assert there is more that unites us than divides us. I'll immediately blow my brains out. At first time, the nation was particularly apprehensive at the prospect of the bullshit speech that declared words were not enough.
Very good. Excellent. So this is an interesting one. What is the satire here? What is funny? What is being made fun of?
Okay, can you explain the main idea because I need to read it again to understand.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Yeah, this one's not as obvious.
maybe is about how people is upset now and say that will not bear another speech of unite and blah blah. But after some time, they always forget, and this will repeat again and again because nobody do nothing. Maybe I don't know. Is
Yeah,
that-
I think that's a good summary of what it's making fun of here. So weary, the weary American populace. Weary means very, very tired of something. So the populace or the population is extremely tired of these speeches about healing. It seems America seems to have a disproportionate number of tragedies or these heated events. For example, school shootings, police brutality. It seems that it happens very frequently, and always after an event like this, we get the politicians and the official people all give speeches about how we must heal, and nothing actually changes. Then a month down the road, 5 months down the road, there's another event like it. So. Anyone else? Anyone else want to summarize what this is making fun of?
No.
Okay. Yeah, this one is much more subtle. But what is interesting to note, of course, these are all fake. They're based on reality, but the people quoted, for example, Samantha Hubbard is not a real person. But this is a quote that you would never read in the real news. Same with this quote. A newspaper wouldn't actually publish this statement. So they are going over the top with the satire and kind of giving the opinion of maybe the majority of Americans who aren't heard in real news. So this one's maybe not as openly funny, but it's certainly an instance of satire, of commentary about the political situation and this pattern of dramatic events that are simply talked about and nothing is ever done and nothing ever changes.
Okay.
All right. So any other final comments on this one?
I don't have about this, but in USA there is a person, John Oliver. Do you know John Oliver?
Oh yes, yeah, from the Daily Show.
Yeah. I think he is very, very good, very good. When happened the first troubles in Ferguson, I watched a program and he was very, very intelligent. He talked about the problems, about the Brown's death, and it was very, very, very happy in his comments, and the way that he treat the issue, because um, they I think his team is very accurate, very intelligent, and put the words the way that the humor, the real life, the real situation, become become funny, but he was point the problem. He was put in outdoor the problems, and I think everyone, no matter the age, no matter the awareness, conscious, I think anyone can able to understand the satire, the situation, because it's a real problem, and but this article, sometimes the problems are happen all the time, but anyone nothing is did to fix the problem.
Yeah, and I agree with John Oliver and Jon Stewart and Stephen Colbert. They are comedians first, but their shows, which are satire on politics, parody news shows, often give a more honest idea of the situation. And I think that's because, in part, because of the format. If you're using humor, you can be a little more bold with your statements, and I think that allows for more honesty.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
In,
I agree.
in this day, he talked also about the situation, the wages paid to women in the United States that are lower than to men,
Yeah.
and he shows the declarations from government and it was very interesting, because all the time they they talk that the problem it should be fixed, that the woman must receive the same wage, the same salary, but one turn goes, and you are in the second turn from government Obama government, and
Hmm.
the problem continue. The problem
Hmm.
is the same.
Yeah.
The women yet receive lower than the men.
True. Yep. So, yeah, another instance of talking about the problem but not actually doing anything about the problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you all for joining me for your contribution. Both of my classes uh, this afternoon were new. I don't know that I'll repeat either of them, but I really appreciate your participation. And as always, feedback is welcome. Um, and I hope to see you later in my Tongue Twisters class. Guaranteed to be a lot of fun. And then we'll have a flash fiction class. And those kind of they generate a little more discussion than these did. So thank
Bye,
you.
Thank you,
Stephanie. Bye
Stephanie.
bye.
Bye bye. See you soon.
See you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye bye.
Bye.